Hi, in this video, we are going to learn about Slack Activities, which has been released by our integrations team. And to begin with, let's first understand how to get the Slack Activities ready to be used within your workflow. And to do that, you have to go to the Manage Packages, just like you would have done for any other activities package. Go to the official feed, and then you can search for Slack, and you will get the Slack activities package here. You can click on install here. For me, it's already installed. That's why I don't have to click there. And then you can click on save and it'll install the activity for you. Once installed, you can see the activities within the integrations section as Slack, and you get all these activities that you can see on the screen. So you have activities to interact with the Slack channels, and then you have activities to interact with the messages. Uh, you then have two two operations activities. Basically, these will help you in making up for any of the activities that you don't find within this particular set of activities. You then have the option of search, which will help you in performing the search like you would have done within Slack. And then obviously the Slack scope activity, which will help you to connect to the Slack system that you want to connect to. And then you have the update status, which will help you in updating the status if that's what you want to do. All right, so to begin with, in this particular use case, what we are going to do is that we have a list of users that we are getting, and we have to onboard these users. And when I say onboard, there are a couple of things that this workflow does. Let me first show you the list of the users. So these are the list of the users that we have, and we have to onboard them. And as part of the onboarding process, these users will be created in the Active Directory of the company with specific details that has been provided here, and all the information keeping intact. And based on these information, these users will also be added to Slack, and specific channels that have been created specifically for the uh, kind of role that these people are going to perform. With that in mind, let's go through the workflow that has already been created for you. So we start with the create user workflow, wherein we are reading this particular Excel file, and then we have to perform actions for each of the employees. And there are two things that is going to happen. One, like I already said, is that the workflow is going to create the user in the Active Directory, and this workflow is going to take care of that. Um, just keep in mind, if you don't have Active Directory credentials, or you don't have access to Active Directory, you can just comment this out or put this particular call away from it, so that you are dealing just with the onboarding onboarding of the employees in the Slack. So this is already created for you. You don't have to worry about it. And this is what we are going to work on in this particular tutorial. And once this is completed for all the employees, the workflow will simply terminate. It will end successfully. So in the onboarding of Slack, we have one of the things that has already been done for you. Basically, it recognizes all the channels for the user where the user needs to be added, and from here on, you have to complete this particular workflow. So how would you do that? First thing first, we have to connect to the Slack. And for doing that, you simply have to drag and drop a Slack scope like you would have done for any other activity set, uh, standard methodology. Then you will choose the authentication type. For me, it will be OAuth. And you will see that there are two sections of it. First is your design time, which will give you access to design time configurations, something that you can do during designing your workflows, and obviously one for the robot connection, uh, and obviously one for the robot connection as well. So in here, you have to put your client ID and client secret. I have it configured already, so I'll just simply put in it. And then on the design side, you can also paste the information that you have so that you get the design time connection to it. The connection will be successful and I can actually perform whatever I want to do in here. So from here on, I will start creating the onboarding activities. So the first thing that we would like to do is obviously add the user. And for that, we are going to use the invoke Slack admin operation. And what we need to do in here is that we are going to use admin user invite. We will go to the users part of it, and then we will see that there is an operation named admin user invite that requires all these fields. And here you can provide all the information that is required. For example, you will require a team ID. You can do it here. You will be required to provide a user email. You can do that as well. You can provide a default channel. This is one of the important parameters. It cannot be empty. You have to provide at least one channel in here. And you can provide a custom message. This is an optional field. And you can then provide the name of the user as well. So once you provide all these things, you can click on done, and this will help you in adding the user to Slack. Uh, Here, I would like to point out another fact that Slack admin operations is something that you will get only on the when you have the Slack admin privileges. I don't currently own that, so I'll just keep it disabled. But if you have admin rights in your Slack workspace, then you can absolutely go ahead and do this activity as well. So that would have added my user to the Slack workspace where I'm configuring them, where I'm trying to onboard them. And the next step that I would like to do is that I would like to get the information of the user. And to get the information of the user, I can use invoke Slack operation activity simply. And in the invoke Slack operation activity, I have to use user lookup by email. And this you can get again from the users category. You will get the option of uh, this particular operation, which is users underscore lookup by email, and we can get all the information. Let me just uh, create the response variable. So what it does is that it will get you all the information about the user email that you are providing. And when I say all the information, I'm looking for the actual name of the user within the Slack, and the ID with which the user is being referenced, and the real name, stuffs like that. So I'll get these information from here. This I'm doing because for all these steps that is following, we are going to use Slack specific information, and it's safer to get the information from Slack itself. So the next step would be to set up the user ID. And for user ID, I'll simply go ahead and I'll extract the information from the response object that I had. The construct of the response object is something like this. And as you can see, I'm getting the username, if you see in here. And that's why it's taking first the user and then the name. This will give me access to the user's name on Slack, which then I can use throughout my workflow to perform the action correctly on this particular user itself. So the next step that I want to do in here is to actually, now that the user is already added, I can send a message directly to the user, and that I will do by uh, actually passing it like this. And then I can create the custom message actually. So I will have the custom message somewhere here. This is the message that I'm going to uh, provide it to the user. And for sending message, I'll choose the direct message type. I will provide the user ID that I just extracted out, and then I'll provide the information, the message that I want to give it to the user, and I will also upload a document, a specific onboarding guide that I have present in here itself. This will help the user to actually get up to speed with all the information that he actually needs. And after that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the user to all the channels that he needs to be the member of. And for that, I'll start by using a for each loop. And then create, I'll get the information from a variable called channel list, which is a list of all the channels that this particular user is going to be part of. And then I need to first add the user to the channel, right? And for that, I can use another activity from Slack, which is called invite to channel. I will provide the channel in here. Also, there's another brilliant thing about this particular activity is that even in the design time, you can actually search for the channel if that is what you want to do. You can actually go ahead and write the search query in here, and it will help you search the channel status there. Uh, the spelling was wrong, like this. So you can select once you, if you want to have a static addition, this could help you in finding your channels quickly and adding them directly in here to this particular activity. And after adding the channel, I have to change the format of this one to string because that's what it is expecting. And then I have to provide the user ID, the ID that I extracted previously, so that the user can be invited to this particular channel. And then once I've added this particular user to the channel, I have to simply go ahead and send a message to the channel so that everybody is informed that a new user has been added to the channel. And for that, I have to do, obviously I have to provide the channel name. So there is an option. You can provide the channel name, or if you have the ID of the channel, you can provide that directly in here. And then you have to provide some text that you want to actually pass to that particular channel. And for that, I'm going to create a new variable in here that will store the information for me, named channel message. And this is what my channel message is going to look like. Okay, and I can provide this directly on the uh, channel message part, basically the text part on the message part of it, right? So I'm using user ID to replace the call to the user ID directly, so that the user gets tagged as well on the message. This is how you do it. And I don't have any attachment, and I don't need the message out at the moment, so I can keep it like this. And that's pretty much it. I have completed all the steps. So first of all, let's just have a quick recap. I wanted to add the user to the channel. For that, I have one of the calls called admin user invite. This will invite the user to the workspace that you're trying to add the user in. You are then going to um, you're then going to actually go ahead and get the user information by calling this particular operation. And using that information, you are going to identify the user ID that you are going to use throughout this process. I'm going to actually send a message directly to the user, informing him that we are happy to have them on board, and then providing him an onboarding guide to make his life easier. And then we are going to add that particular user to all the right channels which he needs to be part of. And with that, our process should come to an end. Right. So let's see if we can run and actually onboard all the users. So it is going to actually create the user in the Active Directory at the moment. It is now working on the onboarding of Slack. First user has been completed. The bot is working on the second user. So with that, our workflow completed. And let's see if we were able to add the user to all the right channels, to all the right Slack, and also on the AD group. And for that, let me just bring up the AD group that we have. So if you see the AD group now, I have all the three users created in here. And if I go to my Slack workspace, this is for Anthony Young, the first user. You can see that the message and the file was provided. Similarly, if I go for Corey, for her as well, the message was provided. And then the last one is John, and for him as well, the information was provided. The user has been added to the developers hub. All the three were to be added to this particular channel. And apart from that, if we go to testers, we see that John has joined the testers hub. And for the TL, Corey Belch has been onboarded to the TL hub as well. So that's pretty much it. You can see the folks who have been added from the channel list. There are only two members. If I search for Corey, she should be part of this channel. There she is. And similarly, if I go to testers, I should have John added here as well. And similarly in developers, we will have all the three added there. So that's pretty much it from the Slack demonstration come tutorial. Thank you for watching.